Hi everyone! Welcome to Techy Tool Time with Rachel. Hopefully my internet is going to hold up this week. Last week my quality wasn't that good, and even with my desktop computer, the internet's a little slow, so hopefully this works out. What I wanted to talk about today and kind of do a quick demo is just a little thing that I've been learning about with some accessibility and how I've been thinking about what that might look like in my course. So you're probably wondering, well, how is this going to involve tech? Well, for starters, just using D2L, in my opinion, is using a little bit of technology, having a place to house your documents for your students to reference outside of class. So the first thing I want to know from you guys is, do you currently use D2L? And what do you use it for? In my D2L course, I have an entire online environment for my students, whether it be I have reading assignments, homework assignments, extra practice problems. That's how I get information to my students using the news feed, my grade book. I use D2L, I think, to the max, but I am always interested to learn how other faculty are using it. So my other two tech things is how I'm making my documents accessible. And one of the things you guys are going to see is something y'all have been seeing from the math department. And I literally just went to a full-on training for this recently. But I wanted to go ahead and show you guys kind of, how it's working for me and what the two formats would look like in D2L for me. So let's get started. The first thing is going to be talking about Word. A lot of you guys have been trained on Word. And I've mentioned how all of us have a Microsoft 365 account now. And so since I have not used Word in quite a while, I'm kind of coming back to Word. And so I'm going to open up a document. You'll see that I'm on the online environment. This is my Chrome web browser. I did a whole thing about why I use Chrome last week. So I'm just going to create a new document in the online environment of Word, and I wanted to show you guys what this looked like. The first page looks very similar. We have our heading options, which we know that these are crucial for accessibility purposes, and some of the general formatting things like your font, making lists that are bulleted or numbered, some of your justification settings. And as strange as this might sound to some of you avid Word users, is I prefer the online environment for Word. In some of these other tabs, I feel like there are less options. For example, look at this page layout. It is missing quite a few options comparatively to Word that is on my desktop. Even the review options are simpler in my opinion. And so I like this. For me, since I'm not naturally a word processing person, having too many options really weighs me down and I'm not really sure where to go. So I'm not doing an accessibility talk right now. What I wanted to talk about is a benefit of doing it in the online environment and storing your files here. So what I'm going to do is make just a little test document. So it's just going to say test. So I'm typing in my environment, and then what you can do is house this online, which is Microsoft 365, and put it into D2L as a live link. So how you can do this is go to your share button, and when you go to share, you can invite people to collaborate. And if you're used to using Google Drive, this is a feature it has as well. But we want to get a link to put the link into our D2L course. So this is the live link. We have this because not only do we have 365, but we also have SharePoint. So we can use this with our accounts. One kind of neat thing with this is we have many different link options. And in my opinion, the link options are a little more detailed than what you get with Google Drive. The restricted link options, pretty typical, only people you share it with can see it. But since everybody in our organization has a 365 account, you can actually require them to use their organization login. So if you're working on something, I know classified's not the right word, but that's what's coming to mind, that you wouldn't want to be open source. That might be a feature you're interested in. For me, I don't want to worry about people having to log in because they're already having to log in on D2L to view my materials anyway. So I'm going to choose the no sign-in required, but view the link. You could also give your students the editing link ability, but I prefer for them to not edit the document. So we're just going to view the link. One feature that Microsoft has that Google does not have is you can set an expiration date. So I think that's kind of nice. Even though students lose access to D2L after a semester, if they saved all of these links, they could still access all of your documents. So setting a custom date of the end of the semester might be something that you're interested in to ensure that not all the links are just out there floating around. So I'm not going to set an expiration date right now. So I'm going to take this, right-click it, and copy it to my clipboard. So then I'm going to go over to my D2L site. This is one of my sandbox sites. So I just have a little testing module I've made to show you guys. So to have the document in D2L, I'm going to go to create a link. This is where we're going to paste in our link, aka our URL, from my Microsoft document. So I'm going to paste that guy in, and then you want to give it a title. This is the title the students are going to see to click it. So I'm just going to call this test. And I like to have it open in D2L. I don't like to have multiple windows opening. I just don't care for the look of it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and create that link. So what that's going to do, I go over here to testing. I have my link here with what I've put into D2L. And then we can open it. And my internet is loading really slow. So, I'm not sure why it didn't load. Here, let's go ahead and open it as an external resource. When you open it as an external resource, this is where another window is going to open. Sometimes opening as an external resource is recommended if you do have a slow internet, because you can tell when I opened it as an external resource, it opened right up. So if you do find that a lot of your links are a little bit lagging, open them as an external resource does help with that. And that's what we just did to solve that issue here. But you can see it opened a new window. I could see the document. Since I'm logged in, I get this edit feature. But students do have a print feature right now and a comments feature. These are things that are just set in my settings in my Word. Students really like to give comments on your document. You know, this gives you a moment for students to give you feedback on what you've typed up for them. You know, maybe the instructions weren't clear, or maybe they found a typo. I call this a point bounty. You know, who's going to find the buried treasure of a typo somewhere? But the fun part about having your links in D2L like this is back to my original document. If I do find a typo, I can update it in real time. I'm going to go ahead and reload the page to make sure it's uploading or updating like it should. So I can go back to D2L and open it in a new window, and the update will be there. And so this is a really nice way to kind of get around having to upload a lot of files directly to D2L. Now, in my D2L again, I just have the links available for students to click on. In this case, I have it opening as a new window, and they can view the document and work from it like they normally would. So there's two added bonuses to doing it like this. One, you can allow students to leave comments, which I love that. And two, you can also fix typos, and anywhere this link is housed, it doesn't matter if it's linked to one D2L course or 5 D2L courses. If you did the link method like I just showed you, they'll all update in real time. So that's kind of my one little techie thing of how we can use our online Microsoft Office. And again, since a lot of us were trained to use Word for accessibility, this is kind of nice since some of us are retyping several of our documents, and maybe learning and using the new features in Word for accessibility purposes. There might be a few typos, so this allows me to fix it, and it automatically updates my D2L without any re-uploading on my part. All right, so the other thing that I just saw and got trained on was Markdown. Some of you guys might recognize Markdown from In-Service, and Susan and Mary Monroe Ellis and Joshua Dean. They've been doing several trainings on this recently, and I just kind of wanted to show it off because I am brand new to it, but I am truly loving it. Again, I know this sounds crazy to some of you guys, but Word is not intuitive to me because I have to remember where all the formatting features are. So I wanted to kind of do a live demo of this. But long story short, the reason that I like doing it in Markdown, we're going to see, is because I can just continually type, and that is going to allow it to be accessible and have some formatting already built in. So if you haven't seen this demoed or heard about it, there is a website, psccmath.github.io. Hopefully they don't mind if I share this since they've been doing trainings on it. This actually has all the links that we need to create our documents. So Stack Edit is where we're going to make the main document. So I've already clicked Stack Edit and opened it in a new window. When you first open Stack Edit, there's kind of a left side and a right side of the screen. The right side is where you can make a new document, delete documents, manage your documents, things like that. I've created 2 documents under my account so far. And so the right side of the screen is going to kind of be a preview of what we're doing. And then on the left side of the screen, this is going to give us some of our formatting features of Markdown and also some places where we can put in some settings. Really quickly, and in looking at the settings, you'll notice under Stack Edit, they have included a copy code. The copy code is for formatting purposes. Some of this is, well, all of it's HTML based. And the thing that I'm loving about Stack Edit is you don't have to have a background in HTML in order to use it. You just have to have a few simple keyboard commands. But their code is something you'd want to put under your settings. I'll just show y'all where it is real fast. You go to Settings, then Advanced, and then under the default template, I've put their code in. So that way when it's exported to my D2L page, the font and the size and the formatting looks really nice. But again, that's just a little HTML coding. And so if you end up hating what I export when we're done with this, that's something that you can always change in the end. So I guess I'm gonna have to do this one-handed. So again, there is a little code sheet here. This is the little cheat sheet they gave me in training. I'm going to get in touch with them to see if they would mind if I more officially share these on our blog and things like that. So in order to have headings, again, everything's done off the keyboard. So if I do a £, oops, I wasn't clicked in the window. If I do a £, and then a space, and then type, that is going to be my first heading. So this might be the title of your overall document. Again, my internet has been crazy today. I hate saying that every week, but I'm telling y'all, we have some pain in the portals when it comes to the internet. Okay, it's slowly trying to type. Okay, let's try again. All right, we're going to start writing. And that's where I was putting in this title of the document. And it's not It's not typing. So it's just, there we go. Sorry, I'm shaking y'all sick. By laughing, moving the camera around. I shouldn't do that. I'm waiting for this to update in real time, but everything's happening super slow. So when you do the pound sign, a space, that's like your main heading. So that would be kind of the heading of the overall document. And when we look at this, the preview is updated in real time, so it's not going to have the pound sign. Now the preview could be a little misleading because stack editor version of what they think in our own. So if you do the same kind of thing and use 2 pound signs and a space, that's going to be kind of your more typical headings, maybe for like each section of what you're working on. So a 2 pound sign, this might be your subject throughout. I guess I'm going to have to start filming the other places because of my internet situation. So I'm going to put in subject, and then when you push enter, the good thing about using enter on this is it kind of, I enter 100 times and it'll collapse down. So all this, once we export it into HTML, will be screen readable. So the hashtag is going to put it in the HTML, the type of heading it is, so that way the screen reader will be able to pick it up. Now with no extra hashtags or anything like that, pound signs, if you just type normal, then that's just normal text. That's just going to be your regular old body text that you're used to typing with. And I promise you this would be happening in real time, but it's literally my computer's so slow here. I'm having a little bit of an issue. So this is our main title that we had. This is our second title that we had put in. It's trying to type a little bit of my body text here. And so when we do that, y'all know that Word has a feature where you can put in a table of contents. I can do that same table of contents with Stack Editor under our main heading here. If I put in a bracket followed by TOC in bracket, that's actually going to start to give me a table of contents with my various headings that are in my document. So you can see in the update here, here's the main title of the document. It's the main title and then my kind of subheadings down there. I'm really loving this table of contents. It looks nice, and so when I click on it, it would take me directly to where I'm trying to go in my document. And things like that. And so, how is this going to look in D2L? And that's kind of one of the nice things of doing this. So since this is so slow, I'm not going to demo any more of it right now. But again, we have the side with the coding, but again, it's not true HTML. It's super easy. We're using pound signs. It has a few list options built in. We can import a picture, but again, due to my slow internet connectivity, I'm not going to put all that in. I'll include how to do all that in my blog post. And so if we go over to the pound sign, I'm going to export this to the disk, aka just download it to my computer, and I'm going to download it as HTML. And when you download it, I like to use Chrome. We're going to show it in a folder. So it shows my download in a little folder over here to the side. So let's go back to D2L so we can see what this looks like. When I put it into D2L, I want to go to New, and then I want to go to Upload a File. And so from the folder that just opened, from saying download it to, or show in a folder, we can drag it on over and upload this file and push add. And again, this is going to add a document directly to my D2L course. So when I click on the title of this, the thing that I like, again, it's in the same window. I could have it open in a new window, but now it's going to be a body of text that is directly interactive for my students. If I had a longer document, if I clicked this, it would take you to that portion of the document. Again, the font and things like that, all of that is a little HTML stuff that we could change using our coding. So far I'm super impressed with Stack Edit. It has some neat ways where we can pretty easily, using a few of the other features they have, such as Tables Generator, Wirus, which is a way to put in our math into our documents, and things like that. There's some really easy ways to do that on Stack Edit, whereas with Microsoft Word, you guys know we have to use math type or chem type, and for a lot of us, that's a little bit laborious. So far I'm loving this. I don't have to remember what all the coding things mean. I'm using my little cheat sheet, which again, I have a little cheat sheet of the commands I'm going to use on my keyboard to use with this. So sorry for the internet lag. If you tuned in live, thank you. I'm going to leave you with one last question that we realized when I was talking about this with a few people in my training. I kind of realized that when I'm working with my documents, I literally close my eyes and think to myself, what would I need if I was blind, for example, or there's some other things I can do to kind of help my brain think about it. And I kind of noticed there were a few things where I was switching them. So for example, in chemistry, if I had a K, a C, and a L, that's potassium chloride. So for a seeing person, I would expect them to look at the KCl and their brain is going to recognize that it was potassium chloride. Whereas if I can't see the formula, I have to think about what do I want the screen reader to say and read. And so I realized I was reversing it. Now that they can't see the formula, do I want it to say KCl or do I want it to say potassium chloride? And I think it's kind of an interesting take on things. We got to really think about what we want to portray. We want to make sure they're the same thing for all of our students. So just something to kind of think about. Have you ever ran into something like that where you're creating these accessible documents, but you kind of realized that maybe you wanted them to hear something different, and would your other students benefit from that? Because for me, I found that they would. So again, Stack Edit is the HTML that's used can be put directly into D2L. We can edit in D2L. It's not a live link anymore, so it'd have to be edited directly in D2L or re-uploaded. Or we looked at our Microsoft Word where we can have the live link, and that way it makes editing a little bit easier if that's more your forte. But let me know what you think down below, and thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.